You probably know Usain Bolt, the fastest man alive. At his peak, he was untouchable, breaking records and winning gold after gold. Over his career, he earned tens of millions of dollars. But recently, it was reported that a large portion of his investment funds vanished due to fraud. How does someone so disciplined on the track lose so much off the track? It's a reminder that wealth is about far more than income or talent. And here's the twist: some people earning $40,000 retire more secure than people who make millions. Today, I want to share 7 powerful lessons from Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money. But instead of keeping it abstract, I'm going to bring it to life with real-world stories and timeless wisdom from some of the greatest minds in history. These lessons are simple, but if you live them, they'll change the way you think about money forever. Lesson 1: You're not fully in control. We like to believe success is a simple formula: work hard, make smart choices, and good things happen. But life isn't a math equation. Luck and risk play a much bigger role than we want to admit. Take Steve Jobs, for example. Yes, he was brilliant and hardworking, but a pivotal moment in his life happened by chance. After dropping out of Reed College, he wandered into a calligraphy class. That random decision directly shaped the design of the Macintosh and set Apple apart. Without that lucky accident, Apple might not have looked the same, and who knows if it would have captured the same magic. But luck doesn't always tilt in your favor. Alan Kulvitsky, NASCAR's self-made champion, went from washing cars to winning the cup. He proved grit and determination could carry you to the top. Yet, just months after his greatest victory, he died tragically in a plane crash. His story ended before the next chapter could even begin. Napoleon Bonaparte once said, "Ability is of little account without opportunity." That's the truth about life and money. You can't control luck, and you can't avoid risk completely. Your job is to prepare, to position yourself for opportunity, but stay humble enough to admit that the outcome is never entirely in your hands. Lesson 2: Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. Becoming rich and staying rich require completely different skills. In the 1980s, Richard Branson risked almost everything to start Virgin Atlantic. It was bold, it was reckless, and it could have bankrupted him. But that risk paid off, and it made him wealthy. Once he was established, though, his strategy shifted. He became selective. He protected Virgin's core businesses while letting go of ventures that threatened the empire. Now compare that with Ike Batista, once Brazil's richest man. At his peak, his net worth was around $30 billion. But he ignored warning signs, doubled down on over-leveraged oil ventures, and in just a few years he lost everything. His fortune collapsed almost overnight. Warren Buffett has a saying I think about often: the first rule of investment is don't lose money, the second rule is don't forget the first rule. Getting rich means playing offense. You take risks, you bet big, and you push forward. But staying rich means knowing when to switch to defense. It's about protecting what you've built, avoiding catastrophic losses, and living to fight another day. Lesson 3: Save money for freedom, not things. Most people think saving money is about buying bigger things later. A bigger car. A bigger house. A bigger lifestyle. But real saving isn't about consumption, it's about independence. It's about buying back your time. Oprah Winfrey once said, "Lots of people want to ride with you in the limo, but what you want is someone who will take the bus with you when the limo breaks down." That's not just about friends, it's about freedom. Saving gives you the choice to step off the bus of bad situations without begging for help. A toxic job. You can walk away. A bad landlord. You can move. A dangerous environment. You can relocate. Look at Keanu Reeves. He's worth hundreds of millions, yet he lives modestly and gives away large amounts of his earnings. Why? Because he values peace and freedom more than flashy things. 6 months of living expenses in your savings account may not sound glamorous, but it could be the difference between being trapped and being free. Lesson 4. Wealth is what you don't see. Here's something most people forget: wealth is invisible. In 2020, Chuck Feeney, the co-founder of duty-free shoppers, revealed he had given away his entire $8 billion fortune. For years, he'd been living in a modest apartment, flying coach, and wearing a $15 watch. The world had no idea. That's because real wealth is hidden. It's the investments you keep, the debts you don't have, the security you can't photograph. As Will Rogers famously said, too many people spend money they haven't earned to buy things they don't want to impress people they don't like. Looking rich is easy. You can buy a luxury car on credit and post it on Instagram tomorrow. But being rich, truly rich, is silent. It doesn't shout. It whispers. Lesson 5. Emotions matter more than math. We love to think money is logical, but it's not. Money is emotional. During the 2008 financial crisis, many investors sold at the bottom out of fear, locking in their losses. They couldn't handle the pain. Meanwhile, a few investors, like Howard Marks, stayed calm. They knew that fear destroys long-term gains. They even bought more while others panicked. Franklin D. Roosevelt once said, "The only thing we have to fear is fear itself." That applies perfectly to investing. If your financial plan looks perfect on paper but makes you lose sleep at night, it's not a good plan. The best plan is the one you can stick with in good times and bad. Because the truth is, consistency beats brilliance when it comes to money. Lesson 6. Enough is a superpower. Here's a word we don't talk about enough. Most financial disasters happen when people don't know what enough looks like. Take Bernie Madoff. He was already wealthy, already respected. But it wasn't enough. His greed led to the largest Ponzi scheme in history, and he ended his life disgraced. Now compare that to Ronald Reagan, a janitor and gas station attendant. He lived frugally, invested carefully, and when he passed away, he shocked everyone by leaving behind an $8 million fortune. He never chased more. He simply defined what was enough for him, and he stuck to it. Seneca once wrote, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." Think about that. If you can define enough for yourself, you become unshakable. You protect yourself from the trap of endless desire that destroys so many fortunes. Lesson 7. Patience beats brilliance. We often think wealth comes from brilliance, the genius investor, the perfect strategy, the bold idea. But more often, wealth comes from patience. Take Warren Buffett. Yes, he's a skilled investor, but his true secret isn't genius. It's time. He started investing at age 10, and he's still investing in his 90s. Over 90% of his wealth came after he turned 65. That's compounding in action. Now contrast that with lottery winners. They experience sudden brilliance of fortune, overnight millions. But without patience, without discipline, most of them end up broke. The difference isn't intelligence. It's endurance. Albert Einstein supposedly called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. And he was right. Wealth isn't about a single moment of brilliance. It's about sticking with a plan long enough for compounding to do its quiet, invisible magic. Bringing it all together. So let's bring this all home. You can't control luck. Offense gets you rich, but defense keeps you rich. Save not for things, but for freedom. Remember that real wealth is invisible. Accept that emotions matter more than spreadsheets. Know you're enough. And above all, trust the power of patience. Money isn't just about numbers. It's about choices. It's about freedom. It's about living life on your terms. So the next time you think about wealth, don't just chase more. Chase better. Because true wealth isn't the size of your bank account. It's the ability to write your own story, and live it fully.